In the speech, President Obama proposed a $447 billion jobs plan. But when you look at the numbers, it turns out over $250 billion of that is tax cuts. So, I did the math on it. Over 56% of this jobs plan is dedicated to tax cuts. That is definitely not the direction I would have gone. Why? Because tax cuts don't work. We did tremendous tax cuts. The last 10 years, we have a net loss of 1 million jobs. How much more evidence do you need that tax cuts don't work? When Bill Clinton raised taxes, we created 22 million jobs. How much evidence do you need? Why do you keep going to Republican ideas on tax cuts? Now, on the other hand, there were good things. For example, $140 billion in infrastructure spending that's going to go to improving school buildings, roads, bridges, ports, etc., which is definitely good, which is something we'd been pushing for. And $35 billion to help states that are laying off teachers so they don't have to lay off those teachers. So there's the good and the bad. So let me summarize. The positives in this speech were, in my opinion, extending unemployment benefits, the infrastructure spending that we just mentioned there, $140 billion, the money to the states for teachers that we just mentioned, and then targeting some tax breaks for hiring the unemployed. That's the $4,000 if you hire someone who's unemployed, or you give wage increases. So there's definitely positives in there, like the infrastructure, the most out of all of that. But there were also negatives in the speech. So what were those? Well, as I explained to you, 56% of the package was tax cuts. The wrong direction to go. There was a promise to cut Medicare and to cut Medicaid as well. I think that's disastrous. He's slashing the payroll tax, and that hurts Social Security, because then later they'll go and say, well, there's just not enough money for Social Security because we slashed the payroll tax. And it doesn't just go to the employees. Now he wants a proposal for employers as well, and that's nearly a complete waste, because economists have shown over and over again that's the least effective way of stimulating the economy. Also, free trade agreements, especially the one with Panama, drives me crazy. The others are arguable, but the one with Panama is nothing but a tax haven for corporations to hide their money so we may pay more taxes and they pay less taxes. And then finally, my overall point here is that when you put all this together, even though it was bigger than some people expected, the overall proposal, I still believe that he's playing around the edges. Look, yes, the $35 billion to the states is good. Yes, some money to the infrastructure is good. But we needed a huge proposal. Look, the tax cuts are just candy. We're going to eat that up as an economy, and maybe we get a slight bump up, and most economists believe that we'll create anywhere between 1 and 2 million jobs because of the extra money that the government is pumping into the economy. But that's short term. And even the economists who say that say it's definitely short term. And after about a year, year and a half, it'll wear off. And I know that's the year and a half that President Obama is going to be running for re-election. So that's why he cares more about it. That's why he wants to do it now. But I care about long-term unemployment. I care about the long-term state of our economy. And I don't think these proposals are going to get it done. What we need is a giant project for, whether it's for infrastructure, whether it's for green energy, but the idea is to put people back to work so that it is an investment. Look, Nobel Prize-winning economists like Joseph Stiglitz have already written about this. Everybody knows it. You could do an investment in infrastructure, technology, and education. And why do we call it an investment? It's not a trick word. It's not a euphemism. It's to literally invest in the country as we did back in the 1940s and 50s so that we can have greater output later and more jobs later. If we didn't build the highways, if we didn't build the bridges, our economy would have never been as strong as it was. So we need to do that again. And that is a great two-sided advantage. It creates jobs and it sets us up for a better economy later. Did we get that from this speech? Overall, I got to say, no, we didn't. We got playing around the edges with some things that are positive, some parts that are, I'm afraid, very negative. And in the end, whether it helps his re-election is an open question, because it might, given the slight bump up, if he gets the whole package through that he might get. On the other hand, does it help our economy in the long run? I got to say, no way. Not even close. This is not the way to restructure our economy. This is not the way to get the jobs back from China. It just isn't it. It's politics. And that's really disheartening, but that's the reality.